I've traveled around this great country of ours for the last 25 years with the Roadhouse Rockers. I've met some of the best car and bike builders, been to the biggest shows and auctions in the country. I've seen some of the coolest hot rods and classics around. But some of the greatest ones are right here in our own backyard. My name is Rick McGee, and this is Gearheadz USA.
Hey, welcome to Gearheadz USA. Today, we're in historical Titusville, Pennsylvania, right in our own backyard at one of the most historical, coolest, I can't even go on about how cool this is. This is Titusville Iron Works. This is an old factory that built things for oil wells after Drake drilled the first oil well in the United States back in 1859. And right here is the owner, and he also has one of the coolest restoration shops around, Windfall Restoration. This is Bob Joyce. Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Rick.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming back down.
Oh, my God. Now, the band has traveled all around the country for 25 years, and we've seen some of the coolest bars, clubs, but I never saw one as cool as this one, and it's right in our backyard.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, talk about preserving local history, but history that started here that went all over the place. Like some of the oil companies started right here, and then they got to be these big companies that are worldwide. But anyway, start out with telling us, and this was built in right after Drake drilled the well, right?
So Titusville Iron Works was founded in 1860.
Okay.
And a year and a mile from the original Drake well. The building that we're in right here was the original machine shop, and it was built in 1895, I believe.
Okay.
And the Iron Works went from Franklin Street to the other side of Perry Street, which is about probably the equivalency of 3 blocks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was big. They had
And they built, now you still got the original crane back there. I noticed that when we're when we're on the stage, and you got a car or a race car on top of that.
Right on.
And you got some stuff. So tell us what they actually built here in the 1860s.
Yeah, so we have an engine, if you can hear it in the background, running. It's called a Titusville Olin engine. And they most of them were deployed to the oil fields and ran the oil wells. They would run the rod lines that pumped each individual well. And they made everything associated with that. So the central powers that ran the rod lines, these engines would power and run those. They built tank cars, they built oil tanks, they built, a bunch of crazy things for the oil industry. And then, as that started to die down in like 1930, they migrated to making boilers, big ass heating boilers.
Okay.
We've got some photos up there of them taking boilers on train cars, and it would take a train car to haul the boiler to California. And it would have the name of where it's going. One we have says Bartlesville, Oklahoma, Titusville Iron Works, and they'd ship them out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the thing that's really good, that grabs me is like when Drake drilled this well in 1859, and I think it was 270 feet deep or something, that it put out 25 barrels of oil a day. But they weren't really after gasoline back then. They were trying to just get kerosene, I guess it would be, for lights, right?
Right on, yeah.
So when did they start with these hit and miss motors, or the engines, I should say, and when did they actually start making those gasoline powered? I mean, when did that all start to transition to gasoline, the oil, to make it into gasoline?
Well, the casing head gas was a byproduct of oil. So when they're drilling oil, they'd actually get gas as part of the process, and they would either use that or the natural gas that came out of the ground to run these engines.
And those were, so you're saying right around when they drilled the wells, they invented these hit and miss engines.
Yeah.
So right around the same time, and of course you can hear them things, I mean, they let them run for months, right? I mean, they just run everything for them. So they actually built those here that early. I mean, you're talking before the Civil War.
Well, I think they started with steam. So the first engines built here were steam engines.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And then, and I'm not certain when, I'm assuming around probably 1880s, maybe 90s. We have some old catalogs. Then they migrated to the gas.
Okay, so it was a little bit later on, because I wondered, because they didn't really go after the gasoline from the oil wells till later on.
Right.
And then the car craze came out after that, and you're right here where the car craze started. So,
right on.
And you also have a restoration shop. But let's talk a little bit more about this building here. It's real historic. Now you've got things on the wall that are original, like we'll say that Carter oil. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Carter was a unique, and we have a display on each one of these companies that tells about the history, because part of what we want is to get people in here, learn about the history, have some entertainment,
right,
and maybe have a refreshment. But Carter, very interesting guy. Comes from Ireland when he's 3 with his sister because his parents had died. Comes over here, lives in New York, fights at the Battle of Antietam in the Civil War.
Wow.
Comes to Titusville because of the oil craze, starts a clothing company. And then he gets into the oil business and was very successful and started Carter Oil. And he donated a lot to Titusville, and he actually was part owner here of Titusville Iron Works in around 1900 to 1915, along with E.O. Emerson, who founded Sunoco, the McKinney brothers, who were kind of the foundation for Pennzoil, and they all jointly own this complex here, so that makes it even
This is
more
one
cool.
of these big oil companies started right here in Titusville,
Right.
Pennsylvania. Isn't that amazing?
And Carter then merged with Humble Oil to become Exxon.
Wow. And that all started right in our backyard. This is amazing. And you kept a lot of this stuff alive. Now, when I was here the last time, you were showing me these Model A's that were sitting up on the
right on,
side. And you said you were tearing down a barn or something? Or
We got a call from a family, an estate, and they said, there's some Model A's in this barn that's collapsed. Would you be interested in them? And we went and looked, and all I could see is that stainless headlight staring at me because they were facing up, and that's all we could see because the barn was on top of it. So we went out with a little mini excavator and started picking everything off, everything. We finally get down, and they're frozen because it was spring to the floor and ice, and then we see them, and you see what we found.
yeah.
Rusted out hulks, but I had so much invested, I thought, I'm not throwing them away. What can I do with them?
Right.
So here they are.
So you just kept them, you preserved them the way they were. They're only original ones, right?
Yeah, right.
So you got those up, they're just up there. That is just so cool to me that you just left them the way they were. But that's not what you're really all about. You're really about restoring vehicles. That's what your first thing is, right? I mean, you have your restoration shop.
Restoring them, but we also have a lot of vehicles with local history. The drag car you referred to earlier was a guy named Steve Kuntz, local guy, raced the car. I had the opportunity to race Legends cars with him at Lake Erie for a few years.
Wow.
But he was a rail guy.
Okay.
So he passed away young age, and I bought the car at auction, thought it'd be neat to have on display here. And there's a car, a 9026 International behind you that was an original grocery delivery truck for Titusville.
Wow.
Became a brush truck for Pleasantville Fire, went through a few owners, I found it and brought it back here.
Wow.
So a lot of them here, not all of them, but a lot of them have some type of local historical tie.
Well, I seen you had the cable car too over
Yeah,
there. And,
right on.
That was, you said that originally came from New York though, right?
This car ran from Dunkirk to Fredonia, New York. There was 4 of them, and they were Cincinnati curbside trolley cars.
Wow.
And they had great documentation, so we found they ran from about 1920 to say 28. They ordered 4 of these. This one ends up in Pleasantville, neighboring town, and they were using it to as a cabin for the guy that pumped oil, and he lived in it. So we were turned on to it, found it, and there was, I show you a photo, there was just hardly anything left of it. We brought it back here, and our guys rebuilt it to the exact specs of what it was
That
originally.
is so cool. And then behind there, you got some old cars too. What are those?
So there's a 1919 Samson that we bought from a local museum, which was the, Gene Burt had a museum called Tired Wheels Museum, I'm sorry. So it's a Samson, and it was a bus that ran from Franklin to Cooperstown.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was pretty neat. And there's a Model T, doesn't have local tie, but something we bought that we thought was cool. And then I have a Model A Roadster pickup in front of it that we just slapped some Sunoco logos on because we have the replica Sunoco station out here.
I know, that is just so cool. Another thing that, aside, you got some gas pumps in here, and you got, but the neon sign that I saw when I was first here, the dog and suds, that was something that back in the day us kids used to hang out. We called it mutton bubbles back then. But you have an original, you have the picture of the original dog and suds that was down here, and we had one in Waterford. And so there's a company that actually makes those signs, that makes those neon signs, the dog and suds, right?
Right, yeah.
And so you say that there's still some of those around?
He said there's still some in the Midwest, and he makes the signs for them.
Right.
But he also, with the sign craze, he makes these replicas, and he'll send them to Mecum, Barrett-Jackson,
Yeah.
and he'll sell them at the auction there.
And you got one.
I got in line. I got his information. I said I need one. So,
Yeah, and it's just awesome. When I walked in, I said, I remember those, man. It was just, I couldn't believe how nice it was, and I was like, well, it must be brand new. This is awesome. Sean is a carpenter that did a lot of the restoration at this shop right here, so this is really cool. Tell us a little bit about what you did here.
We actually refabbed a lot of this stuff. We came in, did a lot of demo, took a lot of time, a lot of hands-on. Also, like the Airstream here, It was a project that was done for this building, and the things, everything in here has been either refabbed, demoed. It's had a lot of hands-on.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I mean, the roof looks like it's pretty much all original.
It is all
This
original.
is just so cool that you guys preserved this place, the birthplace of oil, right here in Titusville. This is just so awesome. I mean, it's just, I can't even, it just drives me crazy that I can't. I wish it was mine. So anyway, yeah, thank you for sharing that. This is really cool. You guys did such an awesome job. Very
Hey,
nice
and
job.
just a plug for his son Mason, who's worked at the bar all last summer, handles our social media. He's on tour in the UK right now with a couple of bands, and he'll be performing here with Brawny
Yes.
in August.
Yes.
All right, awesome, awesome. Hey, glad to meet you. Thank you,
Same
Sean.
here.
Okay, there's a couple things that are actually in this beautiful bar museum. You got this really cool ramp truck, and you got an old Chevy C10 short bed sitting on it. But this isn't restored. This is just stuff that you just got and just left it sit the
Drug
way
it
it
off
was,
the
right?
street, yeah, right on.
And what is this actually? This is a big old Dodge four-door.
69 Dodge D300 4-door ramp truck, and I guess used to haul dragsters or whatever you're racing on the back of these
And you
things.
keep it on display here all the time for people to check it out.
Local guy owned it, Fred Cleland, great guy, has a lot of cars, and sold it to me last year, and here she is.
Oh, wow. And so what about this nice little short bed truck? You just left it the way it was. and just-
69 C10, yeah, just the way I
just
bought
love it. And you got your logo on there, Windfall Rod Shop.
Right on, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can leave some stuff like this that's just on display at your shop, but now we got to check out some of the cars that Windfall actually does. And that would be like this 66 Chevelle big block convertible that you got right here.
Right on, yeah.
Oh my God, this is just an awesome car. Tell us a little about this, Bob.
My son and I got this in West Virginia. The chassis was done, the body was not. So we took it back to the shop, and guy that does some paint work for us, Sean Young, redid the body, and we just put a stock interior in it. And it's got a 396, as you said, 700 R4 tranny, and we did all that at the shop. So it's a nice car to keep around and drive on nice days.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful car. You should have mirrors under it so you can see how beautiful it is underneath too. So do you guys do the paint work and all the body work and stuff at your shop,
We do,
correct?
yeah.
Now, do you guys do the upholstery work too?
No, we farm that out.
farm that out,
This is
okay.
more of a stock interior, so that stuff you buy and put in.
Right.
We did that.
But it's cool you left the 396 in it, you know? I mean, how many of them big blocks are around?
Right,
Well, there's
exactly.
one right here, huh?
Right, right.
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's go check something else out.
All right.
Okay, we're going to stay right here with the Chevrolets, one of my favorite. So you got a beautiful 69 Chevelle here. But this would be considered a resto mod, right?
Right on, yep, that's right.
You guys, you said this car, before you started your shop, was almost done, but you guys finished it, correct? Mm-hmm. So what did you end up getting here? Was this already painted when you got it, or?
Well, when I bought it, it was a carcass from New Mexico, and a guy drug it home to Pittsburgh, and I bought it as a project. But I didn't have the restoration shop, so I sent it to another one to do the paint work on it.
Okay.
We got it back from paint. At that time, we had started our shop, so we did everything else to it. We put an LS3 in it, a Crate LS3, carbureted, whole new front suspension, tubular A-arms, disc brakes all the way around, Tramic 5-speed, vintage air, just a really nice car to
Nice
drive.
little update on the interior there too, you know, a little more comfortable. So, yeah, these are pretty popular lately, people taking and making a modern motor and transmission into an older car. So you got the benefits of the reliable new car, a lot of horsepower with that motor, and it still has the classic look. This is really, really awesome car. I love it.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, this is really cool. A 1948 whiskey runner, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's an international.
Right.
But you guys are international guys down here, right? Tell us a little bit about this. You built this for your son, correct?
Yeah, my son has muscular dystrophy. His name's Alex. He's 26, in a wheelchair. So we bought this and we bought it at Mecum Kissimmee, brought it back here, proceeded to do everything but paint work.
Okay.
So we put a 454 in it, 5-speed tranny, airbags in the back. And initially I just had a ramp that he could go up, drop the bags, and he'd roll in. But as time went on, that got a little dangerous. So we took and I sold a Ford van that had a wheelchair ramp in it.
Okay.
So we took it out of that van and we plugged it in the back, and it fits like a glove.
Wow, awesome.
So he can wheel in beside me. And we've gone to, I took it to Florida, and he came down, rode around with me. We did the Woodward cruise in Detroit in this thing. So we've had a lot of fun in this, and the guys, we've done a lot of work to this.
I'm sure you get a lot of people coming up and talking, especially you got really nice advertisement on it.
Yeah,
too,
right.
you know?
Yeah, right.
This is really cool. And so 454 Chevy in it, right?
Yeah.
You gotta like them Chevy motors,
Yeah,
huh?
you do.
All right, yeah. They're like bulletproof. This is awesome. Very awesome
Thank you,
truck.
Rick.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we are at Bob's Restoration Shop, which is Windfall Rod Shop.
Yes, sir.
Windfall Rod Shop. It's almost like a tongue twister for me. So you don't only preserve history, you restore history here.
We try to,
Right, you're
yes.
awesome. So first thing I noticed last year, we were talking about cars that you were doing, and the first picture you showed me was a 71 Cuda that you're building for your son, right?
That's right.
And it's sitting in here, and wow, what a beautiful car. So tell us, what did you start with this car?
It was the 71. We found it in Greenville, and they're hard to find, as
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
those E-bodies. So, and when you do find them, they're rusted. So not only was this completely rusted, but a tree had fallen on it.
Oh boy.
So we've replaced about every panel on the, including the cowl. I think the only thing original is sections on the floor.
Okay.
So we started, and we did all the metal work on the car, and then he bought it when he was 16. He's 26 now.
Okay.
So this has kind of been a back burner. When we guys have time, we work on it.
Sure.
And he designed it. He had a sketch made, and we did some stuff. We shaved the drip rails, and just a lot of little things. It's got a
Oh wow.
69 date-coated 426 Hemi, Tramic 6-speed, air conditioning. It's got rack and pinion front suspension, independent front suspension, and a 9-inch Ford rear.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so it's kind of a Russell mod, but not exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit, but you kept some of the original flair to it. But the 71s, like I remember looking, a buddy of mine had one years ago, and the grills alone are really expensive, and they're hard to find.
They are hard to
I mean,
find.
they're just a one-year thing, and they're really cool cars. So this has a 426 Hemi. What year did you say it was?
The date code on the engine's 69.
All right, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that is a real high horsepower motor.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
in the day, that's awesome. This is an awesome car.
And we fuel injected. It's going to have 2 Sniper EFIs on it.
Oh, wow.
So 2 dual quad EFIs.
So there's a little of a resto mod.
Yeah, that's
in
quite a
there.
bit. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Then the next thing that you was talking about was, I call it the Bullet Mustang. It looks a lot like the Bullet Mustang. And you said it's a newer color of that green, but it is a 68 fastback.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yep.
just and this is a numbers matching car.
The 289. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a 280. So this was a small block
Right.
originally, so you just left it like that.
Right.
But this thing, it looks like you could eat off it. I mean, was it in that good a shape? Or all the panels were placed on this too?
Bought this from a guy in Meadville, and his name escapes me. And he had a lot of the metal work done at another shop.
Okay.
We brought it up here and finished it up. There wasn't a whole lot of metal work to do, and we painted it here. And he had redone the suspension, so everything underneath was done when we got it.
Wow.
So and it's another one on the back burner. When we can work it around customer cars, we do.
Yeah, but I mean, I call them a Bullet Mustang, all the 68 ones, but that was a 390, I think.
Yeah,
But
right.
This is so cool. What do you got in
That's
it for a tranny?
Tramic 5-speed.
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
So there's a little bit of the modern stuff in it too, but what a beautiful car. Now, what about you guys planning for the interior?
Probably just stock interior.
Stock interior?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we have most of it. Not
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, this thing is like, wow. I mean, you can see the bones of that thing. It's just an
Thanks,
awesome
Rick.
car. So what else you guys got on the, is there anything on the front burner here?
Yeah, so
Okay.
everything here are customer cars. These 4, so this is an F700. A guy wants a 2-stroke diesel in, Detroit diesel.
Wow.
78 Ford that we're doing for a guy, and he brought it boxes from another shop, in which we get a lot of stuff that started here, and they bring them here, already torn apart, so we got to figure out where everything goes. Do we have all the parts? So that's been a ground up project. That car had some of the metal work done on it. We finished it up, and it's a customer car.
Is that a
And
65?
68 coupe.
60, oh, okay, I couldn't see that.
Notch
Oh, yeah,
back,
okay.
yep.
Oh, you got the marker lights are gone. Right?
Yeah, he had those shaved.
Okay.
Yep, right.
All right.
Yep. And then a 71 Le Mans, it's been a longer project. Whenever the guy gets a couple bucks, he said go to work on it. But we had that under new quarters and floors and a lot of metal work on that
All
car.
right. So you guys do a lot of paint work here too, I
Yeah.
noticed, and it's just beautiful paint
Thank
work.
you.
Now, a lot of people now, I saw a lot of guys doing that two-tone on Mustangs.
Yeah?
I don't believe they did that from the factory.
No, this was a custom deal that
yeah,
he came up
'cause
with.
I've seen at Barrett Jackson, I saw a couple of them.
Oh,
and
did you?
Yeah. So people were two-toning them. I kind of like the solid color, but that looks really nice. That's a nice color combination anyway.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he wanted,
Yeah.
which was nice.
Now with your Ford here, this is that what, the stock motor in that? Or?
The 78?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has his wife. So he bought that for his wife and gave it to her at the fair or something as a pulling truck. And when he gave it to her in front of the crowd, she went out and pulled with it. And this goes back 20 whatever years,
Wow.
you know what I mean? So he's always wanted to restore it as a street truck for her.
Wow.
So the 460, I don't know if it was original but it's the one they pulled with.
I remember my dad bought a brand new 78 Ford truck, just like that, 4-wheel drive, XLT, had everything on it, air conditioning. I think it was a 400. I think it got about 7 or 8 miles to the gallon,
Yeah,
full-time
probably.
4-wheel drive. Wouldn't want that these days.
No.
You maybe take it to a show or something.
Right,
It's cool.
right.
Well, this is really cool. You want to go to the other side and check out some of
Sure.
the stuff you do over there,
Yeah,
too.
okay.
Okay, so now we're on the other side of this, and this used to be a school, you said, right?
Yeah, vocational school.
A vocational school, and now you transformed it into a restoration
Right.
shop.
It's
Wow,
Harry T.
awesome.
Kerr Skill Center, and then PMI out of Meadville bought it.
Okay.
Took everything over there.
Well, it's really cool. So this is where you do all the mechanic work over here.
Right.
But I noticed you have like this shear that you were talking about. This is a local, came from a knife factory, you said, right?
Right, yeah, Queen Cutlery came out of their shop.
Yeah.
And they made knives. Before that was Shat and Morgan when they came here in 1890 or whenever it was, and became Queen Cutlery, made knives all those years. And they just went out of business about 10 years ago.
And you're still using the same thing, the same machine as, how old is that?
I think it was an 1890 machine.
Yeah, my God, all these years and you're still using it. Isn't that something?
That's crazy.
Wow,
yeah.
and that's cool. That's so cool. So anyway, start with some of the vehicles that you're doing in here. These are all customer vehicles.
These are, yeah, most of this is mechanical stuff that we're
Okay.
doing over here. So, and we like internationals,
Yeah.
and we have, this is a customer vehicle. Same customer has that truck. And then a different customer from Erie has the one on the lift up there.
All right, talk about the one that's on the lift right now. What is that
It's a
exactly?
39 D2, I believe it's a 39, 38
Okay.
or 39. And Davis out at Erie, they have it. And we're doing just mechanical stuff to it.
Okay. So that thing was already, whoever did it already had it done in the body or
He
everything,
had the
right?
body work done and
Okay.
everything like that. Gene Davis Sales
Okay.
is where it's out of. in
So you
Erie,
guys are just doing some mechanical
Yeah.
work. Did they keep it all original as far as the motor and everything?
Yeah, it's the same. It's all the original motor.
Okay,
and,
cool.
And he had the body, so he brought it to us a year ago. We did some stuff to it, bring it back to do another tune-up on it.
Wow.
And no, it's pre-COVID, so he's had it for quite a while.
Wow.
And this is another one we did. A friend of ours bought it, and it's all original. We scuffed it. We did a bunch of mechanical, brake, exhaust, everything.
And what year is this one?
That one's a 39 D2.
Okay.
Then we scuffed it and just did a hot rod clear over it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it came out pretty good.
And it's this original, well, that's a stake bed, right? I mean,
It is a stake bed, yeah.
that's cool. So they probably used that for hauling hay or who knows what
Whatever,
back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And
And it's all original motor and everything too
Yeah.
in that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
And her family had an international dealership in Waterford back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And so they had this type of truck. It was one of their delivery trucks.
Huh.
And so she always wanted one and found this, and here it is.
All right.
Yeah, and she's been driving it and loves it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she
awesome.
also owns that dump truck too.
Okay, so let's talk about the dump truck that you got.
Yeah, that's I forget what year that is. It's a D Series International also. I think it's around a 38.
Okay.
So we're just, training needs redone and just some mechanical stuff on this. that
Okay.
she's
But you
having
guys are just a one-stop fix-it shop right here, right?
I think so, Rick, yes.
All right. Now, one thing that you showed me that I thought was really cool is what's the chances of finding a fire truck where in North Carolina?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah,
You
so-
found a fire truck on eBay. Tell us about that.
So a little rascal in the back corner, 35 Ward La France, Titusville bought new, and it was in service all of its life here. And then when they decommissioned it, and I forget what year that was, I want to say 1970, it got sold and it made its way up around the Warren area in Russell, PA, and then down to Georgia. Then the local fire chief called me and he said, hey, our old Ford LaFrance is on eBay right now. So I got in touch with the guy and brought her back and still got the original gold leaf.
This is the original. It's just so awesome. It says Titusville and you found it in Georgia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And you brought it back home. This is cool.
Thank
And you guys, I got to just say, you know, between your bar or club, museum, and what you do here, you guys are keeping history alive. It's so cool. And the bar, I mean, like I said, I can't talk. You sure you don't need a partner? I just love it. It was really cool. I'm glad you, and you guys are adding more stuff to that, right? You get people donating. When I was there the one day, someone was donating some stuff to you.
Yeah, it is amazing. A lot of people at the local, hey, this is in my garage. People might as well see it, or when I die, my kids are just going to throw it away or sell it or whatever. We'd rather have it on display.
That is so
We're making
cool.
a lot of neat local stuff.
And it's so cool because this is where it all started. This is where the oil started, right here in this town. And these guys are preserving it. Bob, thank you so much
Rick.
for showing us around. You're awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, on behalf of the whole team here at Windfall Rod Shop,
Brett, Eric,
Rick,
Gordon,
Bob?
thank you so much for
Thanks,
tuning
Rick.
in to Gearheadz USA. We'll see you next time.